All right, welcome to our network of champions. We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of this small group of individuals that have the desire to take action and purchase commercial real estate. Again, I'm Nolan Sanburn. I'm the founder of the CRE Collective and this network of champions. First, I just want to make sure that you know that every property that you're actually going to get your eyes on has been personally vetted and verified directly by me, because we have all these general partners that are all over the United States, and they're sending me deals weekly that my partner Zane and I go over every single day, basically, and go over the details and make sure that these properties are going to be viable before you even get your eyes on them. So just to make sure that you know, these properties are specifically designed for the best and top tier properties in the United States. So we wouldn't show you something otherwise. But before we jump into everything else, I want to thank you. But most importantly, let's holler back and look at the exact details of how a property is broken down. That way you can be reminded as to what you're getting yourself into before you jump into a deal. But before we get started, remember, you're not obligated to invest in one property. You can do as much or as little investing as you like. Candidly, we're not obligated to send or do anything for you other than provide you with the best deals that we come across every single time before anybody else gets their eyes on it. So that's kind of our quote-unquote partnership. But quickly, I just want to remind you what a syndication model looks like. So this is one of the properties that I purchased. Again, it's a boring old warehouse over in Birmingham, Alabama. It's 7,200 square feet. You can see it. I actually own a couple of their properties right down the road. But I just wanted to go over an example that if you were to invest in this property with me, what the actual metrics and the details would look like in this property, okay? So I've got our spreadsheet pulled up so you can get your eyes on it. But this property, the value of the land is, of course, relative depending upon the location. But there's 7,200 square feet. The rent is $3,700 a month. The property is called a triple net lease, meaning that the tenant is responsible for all the outgoings. They pay the taxes, they pay the insurance, and they're also responsible for maintaining the property. So I bought this property a couple of years ago, right actually in October of 2022 for $345,000. I put maybe a couple extra bucks in there, but I won't get into the details. I got reimbursed because there was some product in there. So basically, I'm all in the deal for $345,000. We brought at the time 25% to the deal, which is actually a little bit less than $110,000. There's some more closing costs that are involved in this pro forma, but this is a conservative approach. But our debt on the deal is about $260,000 of debt. But that's not really the most important piece here. What we're really getting at is looking at what our net operating income is, which is about $45,000, and then our debt service, which is about $26,000. So if you look down here at the very bottom, our cash on cash, or at least our cash flow to equity, is about $18,500, making our cash on cash return about 16.5%. Now, if we were to actually syndicate this deal, which is what we're going to be doing moving forward into the future with our network of champions, which is what you are doing right now, let's just go over the math of what a deal like this would look like in your participation. So again, a syndication, just to be clear, is multiple investors or individuals grouping their assets together to buy a piece of property. They're pulling capital together to buy something, okay? It's the same deal. Of course, like anything else, we have the actual underwriting. The identical thing is what our spreadsheet was showing. But every single syndication is going to be the same. We're going to have 70% going to our limited partners and 30% going to the general partnership. The general partner is going to be me and any other of my partners in our CRE collective that are bringing the deal. We're going to be quarterbacking it, finding the debt, finding the tenant, paying the leasing commissions, making sure the debt is being serviced, making sure our limited partners are being paid, basically doing everything underneath the hood that you as the, you're just busy focusing on driving the Corvette. We're focused on what's going on. We're the technician under the hood. But let's just look at the math here. So we bought this property, same deal, $345,000. We borrowed 75% from the bank. Now, again, this is a very round number. This isn't exactly where the debt is today. This is actually a very conservative amount. $258,000 is what we borrowed from the bank, which means we had to bring $86,000 or 25%. That's like I said a minute ago. It was a very conservative amount because talking about, phase ones, phase twos, environmental studies, leasing commissions, things like that. That's not important. So there's going to be an NOI, or a net operating income, which is, again, whatever is remaining after we pay all our expenses, is almost $45,000 a year. That leaves a debt service ratio of 23,000, meaning our net operating income, or our net cash flow, is $21,000. So that means our cash on cash return is about 25%. And believe it or not, these are not that difficult to attain, especially if you've got an uncle or a brother-in-law that is in financial management. He's talking about mutual funds throwing off 6.5%, 8% with no tax benefits. This is a little bit hotter, a little bit more passive. But 25% return cash on cash. So how does this syndication model look? What does it look like for you as a limited partner? What does it look like for you as a champion? So we have what is called a preferred return. And a preferred return just means that you are earning 7.5% in this case before anybody else gets paid. Any general partner, there's no senior or junior debt whatsoever, but you are getting your capital returned back to you in a preferred status before anybody else. So you're going to make 7.5% on your money. And then there's a thing called a promote. And a promote is, if you can imagine, again, the preferred return of 7.5% filling up a bucket. Any of the extra water that's inside of the bucket that flows outside of it is described as the promote. And the promote is just the excess cash flow of a property on top of the preferred return. And in this case, we're going to split this 50-50 between the limited partner and the general partner, okay? And again, the general partner is me and my other partners. You, the champion, you're the limited partner. You're, of course, getting the lion's share. So in this case, $6,400 or almost $6,500 is described as the preferred return, which of course just means your down payment, which is the equity that you inject into the deal, multiplied by 0.075, which is, again, your preferred return. The promote, of course, is just whatever the excess cash flow is after the preferred return. So if you look at this now, you have an LP cash flow of $14,000. The GP cash flow is $7,500. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this LP cash on cash return. We're going to divide this $14,000 by what you would have injected, which is the $86,000 in this case. And that's going to equate to 16% cash on cash. That's not describing any of the principal pay down in the debt. That's not describing any of the tax benefits of depreciation or any of the K1s that we're going to provide you with our accounting. So at the end of the day, the cash flow is going to be the key to this. But most importantly, we're just trying to provide you a better way to deploy capital that's going to be verified and vetted versus having to go park something in the stock market or park some money in some other large syndication where you don't have a relationship with somebody the way that you would here with our network of CRE Champion. So we're so excited to have you. If you have any other questions or thoughts, do not hesitate to reach out directly to Zane or I, because we are here to help. And most importantly, we want to grow this thing to $1 billion company. And we're so excited to have you on the ground floor and be the rebar of our foundation. See you on the other side.